Okay, I've got some now on fibre to the curb. So on the 16th of August 2018, at the end of the results call, NBN stated that I'm delighted to say that we're close to ending the testing phase and we'll shortly install our first G.fast enabled DPU on the FTTC network. Mr Morrow said that during the financial results call. We will be one of the first operators in the world to take this step on FTTC. What we are doing here is preloading the NBN network to be able to meet the bandwidth demands of the future with G.fast technology. It will enable gigabit per second speeds over copper lines, with the vast majority of the 1.5 million premises on the FTTC network to be G.fast enabled by the year 2020. So are the 1.4 million premises that Mr Morrow spoke about back in 2018 on the FTTC currently G.fast enabled?
It's about 1.5 million, Senator, actually, but that doesn't matter. It's materially the same. And approximately half of those we could have delivered high-speed tiers using G.fast.
So 1.5 million are?
Around about half of those.
Oh, sorry, about half of those.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but it's about half, John, isn't it?
Right.
It's about half. But sorry, Senator, you keep...
So why only half when back in 2018 Mr Morrow said 1.5 million premises would be on that network with G.fast enabled?
I'd have to go back and have a look at what he actually said, but if I can, I'd have to answer a different way. There are two types of equipment in the fibre to the curb footprint. They're similar, but they're two types, and they're consciously provided by different providers, which is a diversity of supply we wanted to have. Half of those deliver what's called VDSL, which is the upgrade of ADSL. The other half do VDSL and G.fast. So what we could do is replace some of those what's called distribution point units, or DPUs, that do VDSL with G.fast enabled. So that may be what was in Mr Morrow's mind, but what I'm, and again I'd have to read the quote, but what I'm telling you is that around about half of the DPUs is G.fast, and the other half is what's called VDSL.
So is every premises in the FTTC footprint still being supported by VDSL2?
Yes, it is, because the G.fast enabled DPUs also do VDSL.
So is G.fast going to be used to deliver the 1 gigabyte speeds?
In the FTTC footprint? I don't think so, Sandra. There may be some cases when we would, because...
Why wouldn't you? Are there technical problems?
No. I think when we looked at this, Senator, we had... I guess we had three choices. We could leave the footprint as capable of delivering 100 megabits per second, or we could look at enabling those customers who wanted a higher speed using G.fast or using a fibre lead-in. But when we looked at the long term, and I'm talking, I mean, we've built a network to enable everyone to get to a minimum speed. Now, if we're going to provide higher speeds beyond 100 megabits per second to people, we wanted to look at the long term, the 15-year roadmap, if you like. And if we were to deliver, and I should also say, we have already pulled fibre to outside someone's home, so it's close. So the fibre is close to the home. When we looked at it, we took the view that using VDSL, using G.fast, there would still be things like copper remediation. There may be still some home wiring in the home, and it was also going to be IT system bills for us and the retailers, and a harder thing for retailers to manage, because they'd have to explain what service they were getting. So we concluded that the best return on investment was for those customers who wanted more than 100 megabits per second to provide a fibre lead-in. Now, Senator, I will say, in the background, you asked me about G.fast. In the background, there may be times when it makes sense for us, invisible to retailers, to still use G.fast. And if you want a technical reason, John can answer that, but effectively would enable some homes to get that 100 megabits per second. So we're not completely abandoning it.
Okay.
But in the vast majority of cases, for those customers who want more than 100 megs, we've concluded the best solution for them is to provide a fibre lead-in.
Yeah. Okay, great. Look, I just want to keep moving because I'm very conscious of time, and I am conscious that Ms Dwyer's sitting there, and I'm happy for her to go because I know she has a plane to
Senator
catch.
Green, are you okay with Catherine leaving as well?
If there's anything else we need, we'll...
And Senator Sheldon as well?
And you can't notice. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms.
Catherine.
Dwyer.
Thank you, Ms Ryan. Thank you for coming under difficult circumstances. So, Mr Rue, why is NBN Co now having to upgrade premises to fibre to the premises in order to deliver speeds of 250 megabytes per second?
In the fibre, which area? Sorry, Senator?
In the FTTC.
In FTTC.
Yep.
So everybody in the everyone in the FTTC area is able to get, or the vast majority of customers in the FTTC footprint is able to get speeds of up to 100 megabits per second. So what we have done over the last decade is build a network out. I'm glad we did because it was basically completed when COVID hit us. But what we have been doing under the statement of expectations has been building out as fast as we can across the nation to get to a minimum service for everybody. In fact, Australia is one of the only countries I know of our size that has universal access to everybody of high speed broadband. The next stage on any organisation like ours, any technology company, is what follows that, and there will be over time customers across the country who will be able to, who will want to enjoy and will have a need for more than the minimum speeds that we're providing in various footprints.
So
in this case, fibre to the curb.
Can I just wind you back to in September 2020 at the National Press Club, the Minister for Communications said then that G.fast would be used to deliver gigabyte speeds over FTTC. So why wouldn't you use that capability if it's already in the ground for, say, 750,000 homes?
Yeah.
So are you saying that it doesn't work properly?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that when we looked at the long-term return on investment, in other words, over a 15-year, say, period, for the best solution for those customers who wanted more than 100 megabits per second was to provide a fibre lead-in. G.fast absolutely could have delivered. Certainly could have delivered 250 megs and above that as well.
It can't, or
it could, absolutely can.
Right, so
there's no technical issue. There's
megs.
No technical issue with G.fast, but as I said in my answer earlier, when you consider the fact that fibre is close already to the home, when you consider the fact that there will be work like copper remediation for these are the customers on the highest speed tiers, things like home wiring, IT system bills for retailers, we concluded that the best long-term, and this was, again, I'm not here to talk on behalf of the Minister, but this would have been after that event that I don't know where it was. I can't remember where you said it was, but after that event.
So the Minister said 750,000. Well, no, he didn't say 750,000.
That's a rough number. That's a rough number.
That's the rough figure.
Yeah.
How many premises are you assuming will take up speeds of 250 megabytes per second or more within that FTTC footprint?
Over what time period, Senator?
Well, I guess is the assumption similar to the fibre to the network overbuild, roughly 1 in 5 by, say, 2024?
No, I think
or do you expect a higher take-up in FTTC?
I'll ask Mr Wickham to comment on it, but it'll be less than that because there are customers remember, in fibre to the node, where we're building fibre in the street, those customers, there will be customers who cannot get 100 megabits per second, so some will want to go
that
to... That cannot, yes.
Can't,
and
yes,
so
okay.
they now will have the opportunity, if they so choose, to be able to purchase 100 megabits per second speed tier. Sorry, Senator, but fibre to the curb, the whole of that footprint can already do it.
Okay,
so therefore, I think
how many
lower,
lead-ins? Can I just ask you? This is my final question on this topic. How many lead-ins for FTTC premises do you expect to build by 2024?
I don't have that, Senator. We're in the middle of preparing a corporate plan, so I hate to say this, but can you hold that question? Can you hold that question, Senator, next Senate hearing, because we'll have done our plan and I'll be able to answer that. Okay.
Well, I'm asking you now. What do you expect to build?
We're currently building up those sort of assumptions for the next corporate plan, Senator, so I don't have it here today, nor is the corporate plan completed.
Can you take it on notice, Mr.
I'm
Rowe?
very happy to take it on notice, but we will. What I can tell you is that assuming the next Senate hearing is after the corporate plan release, we'll be able to answer that.
Yeah.